بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa zaman. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. What are the signs of the reappearance of the Mahdi is without a doubt a fundamental question within the religion of Islam, and indeed is a question that many Muslims continue to ask until today. A question that has been the subject of discussion since the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And a question of the utmost importance in each and every one of our lives. Since 1979 and the Iranian Revolution, the discussion concerning the Mahdi has increased more than it has ever seen before. Indeed, you find that before 1979, the majority of the laity of the Shia community did not necessarily pay as much attention to the reappearance of the Mahdi as they did do after the revolution of 79. Yes, many a great scholar before 1979 and in the period of the great occultation had tried to serve the Imam, had tried to work to let people know about the Imam. The likes of Saduq and Tusi and Mufid and Na'mani and the likes later on of Ahsa'i and Majlisi all posited their own opinions as to the signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam. But what Ayatollah Khomeini did in 1979 was galvanize an otherwise quite solemn Shia community when it came to this area. In the sense that there weren't many a discussion concerning the Mahdi pre-1979. Indeed, you find that many people within the school of Ahl al-Bayt found their religiosity in many cases after 1979. Many were attracted to the understanding of the religion of Islam after the revolution that took place in Iran. Because for many after that revolution, there was now an incentive to work for the Imam. Not only await the Imam, but try at the same time implement many of the teachings of the religion of Islam in relation to the discussions of the Imam. There was now an idea of a government on behalf of the Imam, a political system on behalf of the Imam, an economic system on behalf of the Imam. You found that after 1979, institutions were built named after the Imam. Mosques where apocalyptic visions of the Imam had taken place were expanded. Presidents began to use the Imam to win elections for themselves, whether rightly or wrongly. And you therefore found that there was now an increase in the discussion concerning the Mahdi in general and the signs of the Mahdi in particular. Even in the academic world, you began to notice more books were written about the Mahdi, both in Western academia and within the traditional elite. In terms of the traditional elite, you find the likes of Sheikh Ali al-Qurani. You find, for example, the likes of Ibrahim al-Amini. You find the likes of Muhammad Sadiq al-Sadr. You found the likes of Ayatollah Safi, Gul Paigani, wrote books in relation to the 12th Imam. At the same time, you found within the academic elite, people began to write about the existence of the 12th Imam, the debates concerning the signs of the 12th Imam. One only has to look at the likes of Abdul Aziz Sachadina, Hussein Mudarrisi, Hassan Ansari, as being the likes who emerged, who began to discuss the 12th Imam. Don't forget, when they were writing on the 12th Imam, many of us were only slowly turning to become religious. Therefore, any discussion of the 12th Imam in the early 80s was very difficult for us to accept. Because if you heard anyone discussing the 12th Imam with the traditions of the 12th Imam, the debates concerning the 12th Imam, that community in the 80s was different from the community of 2015. In 2015, you were able to stomach more of an academic analysis on the signs. When Sachadina wrote, when Hussein Mudarrisi wrote, when Hassan Ansari wrote, we were much more on the traditional analysis. We didn't want to hear different sides of the story. What we wanted was a majlis about the signs of the 12th Imam, then at the end, ziyarah, tabarruk, and go home. Yes? After 1979, there was a galvanization of the Shia and their understanding of the 12th Imam. Suddenly, more and more of this understanding emerged, and now people were beginning to ask more than ever before, is this the period of the emergence of the 12th Imam? Some people went to Ayatollah Bahjat, others made stories about Ayatollah Bahjat. Some went to other ulama and made stories about them, saying that they're saying the 12th Imam is going to reappear in our generation. Now, whether they said these things or they didn't, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. An alim of Ahl al-Bayt will never predict exactly when the 12th Imam will emerge. Rather, they will discuss the signs as the signs are there within the books. Sadly, many of our discussions concerning the signs of the 12th Imam, many of them tend to be more apocalyptic than discussions which affect the whole of humanity. What do I mean? The discussion concerning the signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam is a discussion as much for the non-Muslim as it is for the Muslim. Yes? But the way we normally discuss the signs of the 12th Imam, the wordings we use and the traditions we use, only a Muslim can relate to. As in, if I go to my Hindu friend now, or I go to my Buddhist friend now, and I say to him, listen, have you heard of the Sufyani? He'll say to me, what's the Sufyani? A country? Is it a drink? What is it? If I go to my Jewish friend now and say to him, Khurasani, he might ask me, is that another wine next to Shiraz? Yes. You find that these types of traditions are traditions we're not recognizing the non-Muslim on. The signs of the 12th Imam affect the non-Muslim as much as they affect the Muslim. Why? Because the non-Muslim also wants to know about an apocalyptic worldview. What's going to happen at the end of time? What is the meaning of our existence on this earth? Is the worldview that we have only theological, or can it be ethical? Can it be social? As in, the person who joins the 12th Imam, is he only someone who cares about him as the 12th Imam? Or does he care about him as a social reformer? You found, sadly, many of the lectures that have been given about the signs of the 12th Imam's reappearance are lectures which are preaching to the converted. Yes? People who've heard of Sufyani, Khurasani, Yamani, they only meet their needs. But how about that non-Muslim who's out there? The reality is, when you're discussing the signs of the 12th Imam, the signs of the 12th Imam's reappearance are not just theological. There are many traditions which are signs of his reappearance, which are what? Political traditions, economic traditions, social traditions. Yes? This world is dictated by economics. If the 12th Imam is going to reappear, half of your discussion on the 12th Imam has to be economic, not religious. Because the way this world is dominated, at the moment, the main way people talk and think and live is economic. If you ask many of the followers of Ahl al-Bayt, have you ever discussed the economic signs of the 12th Imam? What's going to be the world in economic terms? Many of them don't know. What has Imam al-Sadiq said about the economy? Has Imam al-Sadiq spoken about starvation? Has he spoken about inflation? Has he spoken about trade recessions? Has he spoken about poverty? When I talk about the 12th Imam, I can't just simply talk about the signs, Sufyani, Dajjal, Khurasani. Why? Because that banker in Manhattan doesn't care about these things, yes? Or that big lawyer in London doesn't care about these things. When you're talking about the signs of the 12th Imam, you find that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt never limited the signs of the reappearance to just religion, yes? They spoke about the political world at the time of the 12th Imam, the economic world at the time of the 12th Imam, and the social world at the time of the 12th Imam, yes? This year, 2015, is probably one of the most important years when it comes to the reappearance and the signs. Why? Because of the fact the whole world has heard of the word Islam now, yes? 50 years ago, you go to the Amazon rainforest, there are people who've never heard of Islam, yes? 60 years ago, you go to Chile and Venezuela, no one's heard about Islam. 90 years ago, you go to certain parts of Africa, no one's even come across Islam. Now in the year 2015, we can comfortably talk about the signs of the 12th Imam, knowing that if he is God's proof on earth, mankind is at a position where they could say, I have certainly heard about the religion of Islam, yes? 100 years ago, you went to the streets of London, a person you term 12th Imam, even if 12th Imam was 1,000 years old at that time, they wouldn't know what that means, yes? Today in the streets of London, they're discussing Islamic State, ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda, Boko, Shabab, Hezbollah, Hamas. One by one, they're discussing them. Meaning what? Meaning that the world today has reached a stage where they want to know what is the real vision of the Imam. What is the real understanding of Islam? But we cannot limit the discussion of the 12th Imam to simply religious discussion. Yes? Religion encompasses economics. Religion encompasses law. Religion encompasses theology. Religion encompasses politics. Therefore, when I come to discuss the signs of the 12th Imam, this lecture is for your Hindu friends, your Sikh friends, your Buddhist friends, your atheist friends, your Jewish friends, your Christian friends. Someone says, why? Because each one of them is as interested in understanding how we can make this world a better place as you are. Do you agree? Don't all of our friends from college, university, work, don't they all say to you, I hope one day we could just have a world of peace? Have you ever heard that phrase from your friends? That why is it on the television every day we see the barbaric Boko Haram, the barbaric Shabab, the barbaric ISIS? Don't they come and tell you, you know what, I just wish one day on television we can switch the TV on and we can watch a good football match, a good cricket match, we can watch a good film, for example. Every human being wants a better world, yes? The only things that will stop them wanting a better world are what? Impunity and greed, correct? That's the only things. Those two diseases, if they are removed, all of us, religion is just a term on top of us, yes? When the 6th Imam says, the followers of the Mahdi will be the first to leave him, and the worshippers of the sun and the moon will be the first to join him. Yes? What does he mean by this? He means that don't think that you people who've said Salamu alayka ya sahab al-zaman, don't think you're the only ones who are going to join me. I'm telling you from now, anyone who wants to make the world a better place, philanthropically they want to serve humanity, socially, politically, economically, then that person will be with the Mahdi, whether they are a Muslim or a non-Muslim. Yes? There are many non-Muslims in the world who deserve to be with the 12th Imam. Just because they're not Muslims doesn't mean they don't deserve. If they want a world better socially, politically, economically, those people, Imam al-Sadiq says, will be the first to run to the 12th Imam. Yes? The followers of the Mahdi will run away from him. The worshipper of the sun and the moon will be the first to join him. Yes? Therefore tonight, let us examine the signs of the reappearance as they are today in 2015. Yes? Let's look at the signs of the reappearance according to the Quranic worldview, according to the traditional worldview. Which verse in the Quran did Imam al-Sadiq say is the verse which gives you the signs of the 12th Imam's reappearance? How is that verse in Surah Al-Baqarah applicable to our lives today? Number 3, how are their theological signs and what are they about the 12th Imam? Number 4, how important is ISIS in the reappearance of the 12th Imam? Number 5, economically, how important is what happened in 2008 to our lives today and to the traditions of Imam al-Sadiq when it comes to the recession? Number 6, socially, how's the Dajjal system being able to take over even a $1 bill? Number 7, how is it with all of these signs, ultimately, when you have Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, you can defeat all of them? And number 8, of the definite signs, who are the ones who will be mentioned by the Imams? Let me try and examine this in order that we understand the signs in complete depth. Muhammad bin Muslim was sitting with Imam al-Sadiq one day. He asked him, Imam, what are the signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam? Many times when you ask people what are the signs of the reappearance, they normally mention to you Sufyani, and they mention to you that the sun will rise from the west, and they mention to you, for example, the eclipse of the moon. They mention to you, for example, the heavenly cry. Imam al-Sadiq did something different here. Nu'mani in his Ghaiba and Saduq within the Kamal says that the 6th Imam said, if you want to see the signs of the 12th Imam's reappearance, go to Surah 2 verse 155 of the Quran. Surah 2 verse 155 gives you the understanding of the exact signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam. Do you know what Surah 2 verse 155 says? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Yes? What does this ayah say? Muhammad bin Muslim said, Imam, which ayah? He said this one. The ayah said, we will try and test, yes, all of you with a shortage of what? وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ. Yes? With what? We're going to give you a shortage of people, of wealth, of hunger, of fear, and of suffering. And give glad tidings to whom? Glad tidings to the patient ones. When this ayah was revealed, what did the ayah say? وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ. The first thing we're going to test you with is a period of fear. Please understand this point. We know very well all of us will be tested, yes? And Imam al-Sadiq makes it clear. Every human being will be tested. There's not one of us who will not be tested before the advent of the 12th Imam. When they asked Ali ibn Abi Talib, how do we pray to Allah to not test us? Ali ibn Abi Talib replied by saying, do not say, Ya Allah, do not test me, for all of you will be tested. Rather say, Ya Allah, do not test me with that which shakes my faith in you. Yes? The main thing is that you are not tested with that which shakes your faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because ultimately, the greatest rizq you can have in this world is what? The greatest rizq you can have in this world is the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? When this verse was spoken of, Imam al-Sadiq said to him, you want to see the signs of the 12th Imam? Look at this verse. What does this verse say? وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ. The first thing you'll be tested, and the first sign of the reappearance of the 12th Imam is what? The first sign is you will go through a period of fear. At that moment, when he said to him, you'll go through a period of fear, Muhammad bin Muslim asked the 12th Imam, asked Imam al-Sadiq. He said to him, Imam? He said, yes. He said, what do you mean we'll go through a period of fear? And then hunger, and then loss of property, loss of lives, and loss of agriculture. Imam said, the first sign is what? You'll go through the test of fear. Meaning, you'll go through a period where the kings of your time will be oppressive towards the people. Yes? The first sign is what? The kings of the time are oppressive towards their own people. In which way? When the kings of the time allow their own people's rights to be confiscated, when the kings of the time and the rulers of the time are not just with their people, when they are arrogant towards a certain group of people, not providing them with their rights, you find that the first of the signs is what? Allah will test us before the 12th Imam rises with a period of fear from our rulers. In which way? Look at the kings in the world today who are oppressive towards their subjects, yes? The first of them, the king of Saudi Arabia, yes? First of them. King of Saudi Arabia sits there, watches the Shia of Ahlul Bayt in his country, yes? And he sees that a mosque, there's a full-blown blast in that mosque, young, innocent human beings die. You find him turning around saying, you know, we apologize, that's it. What do you mean apologize? Why don't you remove all your Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah's books from your shelves, yes? Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah's books are the very reason you see these bomb blasts that take place in the world, yes? These kings, instead of them saying in Mecca, in Medina, in Riyadh, in Jeddah, remove all the books of Ibn Taymiyyah, they sit back. You find them saying, we are very sorry about what happened. We'll send one of our dignitaries to come to your funeral. No, don't send your dignitary. Why? We are in a state of fear. We're going to our Imam Bargas in Saudi Arabia. Yes? When we're entering the Imam Barga in Qatif or in Dammam, we don't know when a bomb blast will take place. And all of it is because of your publication of Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. Yes? As in Ibn Taymiyyah has a book, As-Sarim al-Maslul, Ala Shatm al-Rasul. Yes? This book, inside it, it says that kill the Rafida. Yes? We are called Rafida, aren't we? Says kill the Rafida. Rasulullah tells Ali ibn Abi Talib, kill the Rafida. When such a book is available on sale in Saudi Arabia, you think I'm not in fear when I'm walking in Saudi Arabia? When I come to Hajj, you think I'm not in fear for my wife or my sister? That when we're in Mina or Muzdalifah or Arafah, you're selling the books of Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. As in, for goodness sake, Egypt, their ruler now, has said 7,000 of the books. Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim, Ibn Uthaymeen, Ibn Baz, the whole of the Salafi establishment, they've removed the books from the libraries in Egypt. Yes? Why? Because they noticed that these books, these aren't books that build human beings. Yes? These are books that are building people going into mosques and bombing them. Say you have a problem with the non-Muslim world. Why are you coming into my mosque and bombing me? Yes? Imam al-Sadiq says, the first sign of the reappearance of the 12th Imam is what? That you will be tested with a period of fear. When Muhammad bin Muslim said, what fear? He said, you're going to be living under kings and they will be unjust to their subjects. Saudi Arabia, you walk into a mosque or Imam Barga, if you're selling Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, of course all of us will live in fear. Kuwait, which is meant to be more moderate than Saudi Arabia, still they sell the books of Ibn Taymiyyah, they sell the books of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, and now what do you find? That's Husayniyah, that mosque, where people are Muslims supposedly, goes in the month of Ramadan, on a Friday, into a mosque, while people are in sujood. Subhanallah, how Ali ibn Abi Talib's story repeats itself, yes? In that time, Ibn Muljam, what did he say? He said, I'm a Muslim, I'm of the Khawarij, I pray Salah, I love Quran. He killed Ali ibn Abi Talib in his sujood. Likewise, this person came in. We tell the Saudi kings, we tell the Kuwaiti kings, for how long are you going to sell Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah and Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab's works, yes? When you sell these books in your country, what are they building? I have my books, correct? If there are any of my books you disagree with, then come by all means and remove them. Iran, a few years ago, there were certain volumes of Bihar al-Anwar of Majlisi, yes? Certain volumes of Bihar al-Anwar of Majlisi, which they felt some of the hadiths in them were a bit harsh towards the khulafa of other schools in Islam, yes? You know what the Iranian government said? They said, you know what? We will remove these volumes from the 110 volumes of Majlis's Bihar. Some of our people turned around, they said, no, you should put these in. But these may build the opposite of these, correct? You see, for every time you say, I don't want a Salafi to rise and blast my whole mosque, how do you not know that when we put certain books out there and the layman doesn't know how to study books, that layman may be as extreme as that Salafi. Therefore, what do you find? Iran said that 3 of the volumes of Bihar al-Anwar will not be printed. Some of the Shia went crazy. Said, how could you not print? These are our books. Iran said, but there are certain hadiths in these books which some will deem offensive. We live in a world of diplomatic relations, correct? You don't just let all of your knowledge be given out to everyone. Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, even now, if someone says to me, but they're great ulama. Okay, if you say they are great ulama, then leave their books to be studied by ulama, correct? Don't bring me some street boy, yes, who's lost his job, got divorced, hates the world, probably doesn't know who his father is, and then comes, and that person will come and say what? I hate this whole world. And subhanAllah, when I say he doesn't know who his father is, some people may smile. No, on the contrary. Do not think the son of adultery likes this dunya, yes? They hate the dunya because they believe the dunya has hurt them, yes? So you put all of that combination together, we're going to be where? We're going to be in a state of fear, no doubt. The king of Saudi Arabia, the king of Kuwait, the king of Malaysia, MashaAllah Malaysia, yes? Everyone wants to go there on their honeymoons and everyone wants to go there and have their holidays. And anyone who's a Shia in Malaysia has to be imprisoned. A Shia in Malaysia cannot go to a majlis of Abu Abdullah without fearing the police are going to take them in the middle of the majlis. Imam al-Sadiq therefore says what? Allah says in the Quran, that's one of the signs of the return, the 12th Imam, what? وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ. Number 2, وَالْجُوعِ. Yes? There's a period of intense starvation, no doubt, and I'm coming to each of these within a second, that there is in the world today. Certain streets in India, children don't know when their next meal is, yes? There are streets in Africa, children are lucky if they have iftar for themselves, yes? There are people in Africa who don't even break their fast with the luxuries that we break our fast with in the holy month of Ramadan, yes? That means what? That means any Muslim organization that's helping these people, we should support. And any non-Muslim organization that's helping them, we should support as well. Why? Because when it comes to a hungry child, please don't bring me your religion. I don't care what religion you are, yes? The main thing is, if the child is asking for food, be they Muslim or non-Muslim, you give. And if people are giving who are Muslim and non-Muslim, you give as well. Number 2, there will be a period of what? وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ. Yes? There'll be a period where you'll find that your trade recession will lead to what? Will lead to inadequate income. Yes? And I'm going to come to that in a second. Yes? Trade recessions take place and inadequate income comes together. Yes? Number 4, naqsun min al-what? Min al-anfus. There'll be deaths everywhere. Correct? Everywhere you look. On the television, you see death after death taking place. Whether it's in Iraq, or in Syria, or in Pakistan, or in Bahrain, or in other parts of the world. And naqsun min al-thamarat. Yes? That you'll find that the plants and fruits are hard to come by. When Imam al-Sadiq said this, what did he give? He gave an overview of what the signs are, correct? Imam al-Sadiq, when he said this, how many years ago did he say this? Over 1,300 years ago, let's say, Imam al-Sadiq said these are the signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam, correct? Let's look today whether these signs Imam al-Sadiq spoke about truly are occurring as he says. For example, we gave the example of living in fear, the idea of the kings. That's one example. Let's see the other examples, whether what he's speaking about is occurring with us today. He said, firstly, there'll be deaths everywhere. No doubt, one of the signs you find in the world today politically is that there are deaths everywhere. And I tell you, ISIS in one way has done Islam and Muslims a great favor. Why? Because now the world can see the differentiation between good and evil clearly. Yes? For the 12th Imam to return, you can't have a world which is still not sure who the good Muslims are and who the bad Muslims are. Yes? When 9/11 happened, people were still uncertain. Who's the good Muslims? Who's the bad Muslims? Yes? When September the 7th happened, people were still uncertain. Who's the good Muslims? Who's the bad Muslims? When other blasts happened, people were uncertain. Now with ISIS is the first time in the history of humanity where you find your average non-Muslim sitting next to you says to you, you know what? That is evil, no doubt. Yes? And that both of you are in agreement as to the evil of those people. Because when the 12th Imam returns, you can't have a situation where the non-Muslim world doesn't know what's good and what's evil. ISIS has become the clear demarcation between good and evil, to the extent that in America today, they even mock the funders behind ISIS. What do I mean? Jon Stewart is a comedian in America. Many of you would have come across some of his clips. Jon Stewart did something this year or a few years ago on American television, which was unprecedented. What did he do? Jon Stewart, you know, normally the worst image is given to Iran, correct? In America, the worst image was given to Iran. Who would have thought we'd reach a day where America and Iran want to talk and not have Saudi involved? Correct? Before, the whole world used to think Saudi Arabia is the best place on this earth. Yes? Saudi Arabia are good people. You know what Jon Stewart did? Jon Stewart highlighted that, you know what? More and more American people are realizing Saudi is the issue, not Iran. That in American media was unheard of. And you know how he did it? He's sitting down in front of American television, millions of viewers. While he's sitting down on American television in front of all these millions of viewers, you found him looking towards the screen. Then all of a sudden, like a picture of Ayatollah Khamenei pops up. So he looks at Ayatollah Khamenei. You can see it on YouTube. And if I paraphrase, it's as if he looks at Ayatollah Khamenei and says, oh, Ayatollah, oh, we haven't been friends for a very long time. Yes, it's been very long. We really want to sit down with you guys, you know. We do want to talk again. It's been too long since we've spoken. He's talking, then all of a sudden, the caption comes up of the King of Saudi Arabia. Oh, King of Saudi Arabia, sorry. You know, I wasn't talking to him. I promise I wasn't talking to him. Like, you know, we really like you guys. We love your oil. I mean, we love your humanity. For Jon Stewart to do that on American television, do you know how huge that is? That you mock Saudi Arabia. And he mocked, by the way, another president who I'm not going to mention. Yes, I'm not going to mention the other president. You can go on YouTube to see the first time America in its history has praised Iran ahead of Saudi. And yes, the first time ever in American television. Do you know how unprecedented that is? Do you know why? Because people are sick and tired looking at this ISIS. They don't care if ISIS call themselves Muslims. What people are saying is what? People are turning around saying, you know what, whether you're Muslim or you're non-Muslim, all of us are against ISIS, yes? American people have reached a stage where they're like, you know what, if it means we have to be close with Iran. And what is Iran? But a representative of over 90 million of the lovers of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, correct? What is Iran? As in, don't just look at Iran as a country. Iran, to us, we are proud when Iran is involved in diplomatic negotiations. Why? Because it shows that this whole world cannot revolve except that you have to listen to what the sons of Fatima say until now. Yes? The sons of Fatima until now, 1,400 years later, nothing can be made of a decision. Show me which other school in Islam does President Obama have to think about talking with them before making a decision? Which school of Islam? Our Ismaili brothers, with all due respect to them, good human beings, but I don't think he's too concerned what the Agha Khan is thinking about the political world, yes? Our Bohra brothers, with all due respect to them, but I don't think what they're thinking, what the Da'i is thinking about the political world. But everyone is asking, what is Sayyid Ali Khamenei thinking about the political world, correct? Everyone is asking, what is Sayyid Ali Sistani thinking about the political world? What is that showing you? It's showing you that one of the signs of the reappearance is the whole of humanity is tired of seeing deaths, tired of seeing killings. So what does humanity do at the end, politically? They all decide, you know what, let's talk and work together to look for a system in which we can eradicate dhulm. Yes? Don't look at it as America versus Iran. Look at it as human beings who want a better world. Yes? A world which is devoid of injustice, devoid of oppression. Because what's the hadith about the 12th Imam? The 12th Imam's hadith, what do they say? The 12th Imam will come back, eradicate injustice and bring justice. Correct? The average American, what do they want? They want a world of justice and removal of injustice. The average American is sick and tired of the political lies. And that's why I saw one American saying, hold on, can you politicians make up your mind? 5 years ago, Assad was your enemy. Now you're telling Assad and Iran, let's fight Al-Qaeda. Can you guys make up your mind who's good and who's bad? As in, even the average American is saying, you know what, if Iran is going to be good for us, then let's just talk with Iran, for goodness sake, and not talk with countries who show arrogance towards our country. Therefore, the first of the signs that is clear is what? Politically, the world will become sick and tired of deaths And you'll find a time where people will try and gather together to fight against these deaths. Another of signs is what? Economically, the world will be at a stage where people are sick and tired of starvation, poverty, and recession. 2008 was one of the biggest signs that the 12th Imam's reappearance may not be far away. You know, 2008, do you know how many hadiths of Imam al-Sadiq virtually spoke about 2008? But 2008, we got away with it by the scruff of our necks, correct? Imam al-Sadiq, they asked him, what's the signs of the reappearance of the 12th Imam? When the Quran says there will be a shortening in your wealth. He said, one of the signs is convergent markets. They said, what's convergent markets? He said, when you're having trade recession take place, where it's difficult to acquire agriculture, fruits and plants. Then he said, you'll reach a stage where you trade and you transact. Before the 12th Imam appears, you trade, you transact, but you find that there's no profits being made and someone else has taken all that profits. You know, 2008, how close we were to putting a card in a machine and getting no money back. Many people think that now we are in a false sense of security. 2008, we were this close from having no money come out of the banks. As in, you go and ask Lehman Brothers, go and ask AIG, and go and ask Iceland for that matter. Ask them all one by one, and you'll see each one of them tell you about 2008. Because they told everyone in the world, you know what, good debt plus subprime mortgages, we bring the two together and we're offering you security. You keep buying the houses and we're gonna help you in the repayments. And then you begun to realize what? You begun to realize that there was chaos. Why? Because the basis of it was impunity and interest and greed, correct? And when these three are the basis of a system, then know that the 12th Imam is not far. Why? Because we fell in that false sense of security at that time. We thought to ourselves, you know what, we've got through this. It's never going to happen again. But believe you me, let's not fall into that false sense of security again. Why? At that time, we fell into the trap, thinking that everyone was offering us mortgages for our own good. We didn't see the interest at the bottom of that system of corruption and greed. Now what's happening to the world again? Everyone's falling into the false sense of the middle class security, yes? Latin America, there's a rise of the middle class. Southeast Asia, there's a rise of the middle class. Africa, by 2020, there will be 400 million people classified economically as African middle class. By 2030, they predict 1.7 billion people in Africa will be classified as what? Middle class. That person who's going to go into that false world, they're going to think to themselves, you know what, I can buy a new car. Why do I need the 12th Imam? I can buy a new car. I can go on holidays more frequently. I can change houses as I want. What they don't realize is that, you know what, that system which has got greed, interest at the bottom, people working on their systems behind the scene, at any second there'll be a crash. And there's only one country that will print and survive, watching everyone else fall. What do you think? People aren't preparing for this chaos? You think Greece is not a sign of this chaos? If Greece goes out of the Eurozone, what chaos will emerge for all of us? Yes? As in, you don't think Qatar is now buying land all over Africa. Why is Qatar buying land all over Africa? For what reason? Why is India and China fighting over what? The water of the glaciers of the Himalayas, yes? Is there a battle between them about water, a battle about land? Don't you know at any second if there is frost in Brazil, that person in Mumbai cannot sell coffee? What Imam al-Sadiq said was, don't go into a false sense of security. Because one of the signs of the 12th Imam's reappearance is what? Is that recessions become normal. Starvation increase. Poverty increase. When we escaped from 2008, many people said, we got away with it. Lehman didn't, AIG didn't, Iceland nearly became bankrupt, yes? Greece is still feeling the effects. Imam al-Sadiq says, when you see recessions become a norm, and you see that certain people in the world find it hard to have fruits, to have plants, to have vegetables, then know this is one of the tests that you're going to face before the reappearance of the 12th Imam, yes? Many of us look at this global macro economy, and we think to ourselves, it's never gonna crash, yes? Let's keep on living and enjoying. What we don't realize, you know what, at any second this crash is gonna happen. And if you want to know one of the clearest signs of the 12th Imam is what? The Muslim and the non-Muslim will reach a stage where they say, where is there a man who will come and who will remove interest and greed and impunity from our systems, yes? Because the very basis of corruption in the economic world is that greed and impunity that exists amongst the people. Do you know what Imam Sadiq said? When the 12th Imam returns, what are you going to see? He's going to give out so much wealth, they don't need to check the balance because of how much rizq Allah gives with him, yes? But that is not going to be with the interest repayment program where they tell you securization, yes? We're giving you security over here. Don't worry, you keep taking mortgages from us. This is good debt. We'll place it on another debt somewhere else until they nearly caused havoc. And I'll tell you something. When you have religion, you're able to remain patient when you lose money. That person who doesn't have religion doesn't mind killing you, destroying your family so they get money, correct? And that's why we don't want it to reach a stage of havoc, but it will. If a person doesn't realize economically how this world is dictated, then they haven't realized one of the major signs of the 12th Imam. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. Yes? Politically, the world is coming to a stage where they're sick of deaths and sick of corrupt governments, as John Stewart showed. Economically, we're reaching a stage where everyone's like, you know what? These Wolf of Wall Street bankers, we're sick and tired of what they did to us. Yes? We want a man who is just economically. Notice the word for economics in Islam is what? Iqtisad. Yes? Iqtisad means justice, not economics. We translate economics in Arabic with justice. The non-Muslim translates economics what? On a more monetary level. Islam says, don't translate economics with the word economics in Arabic. Translate it with justice. Because a true economic system, a person fears Allah before they fear everybody else. Yes? Therefore, number one, politically, you could see the world is coming together. We're all sick and tired of the corruption of Saudi Arabia and the oil barons behind the scenes. Economically, you're sick and tired of those people who are ruining the lives of innocent children in Africa simply because what are they doing? They're making sure they're looking out for themselves. They could see a drought in California. They could see global climate change is going to make products and food a scarcity. So what are they doing? They're going to make sure that they destroy even human life. And that's where the hujjah comes in, number two. Number three, the third sign, the rise of the Dajjal. No doubt, yes? The Dajjal, is he a human being or is he a system? No, in the school of Ahlul Bayt, we believe there's a system. Its symbol is what? The one eye. That $1 bill, for the life of me, I still haven't understood why there's a pyramid with one eye on top of it, yes? As in you can't be more blatant than that, yes? Are there many pyramids in America yet or no? Maybe inshallah there are. Pyramid with one eye. One-eyed system. What's that one-eyed system? That one-eyed system is the very antithesis of religion. Everything religion wants, it says, no, we don't want that. We want freedom. Yes? Enjoy. There's no limits. Don't let religion dictate to you morals. You make up your own morals. Yes? The Dajjal system, what does it do? It is the very antithesis of what the prophets came and said. The prophets would come and say, we have come to bring morals to society on behalf of God. For the moral barometer is God. The Dajjal system says, no, there's no God. Yes, God is dead. God is dead. Do you know in America recently there was a film called God is Not Dead. The film was about the number of lawsuits which students have taken universities to court because of the number of students who wanted to write God in their essays, and the university professors mocked them saying there's no God. Do you know in America how many students have taken universities to court? Because in universities in America today, if you write in your essay God and not Mother Nature, then you are made fun of. So they made a film in Hollywood, God is Not Dead. to try and show that, don't let people tell you there's no God and replace God with all these theories. No, be proud to say there is God. But what does the Dajjal system do? Dajjal system, one of the biggest signs of the 12th Imam, it tells you, listen, there's no need for God. Just be a good human with a good heart. Yes? Be a good human, have a good heart. Islam said, but why should there be a disagreement? Why can't you believe in God and be a good human and have a good heart? No, 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 no. We don't need God. You don't understand. Let us enjoy. Let everyone enjoy what they desire. ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. Didn't I make a covenant with you, O children of Adam? Do not worship shaitan. Someone says, I don't worship shaitan. No, no, no. What did they mean when we said we don't worship shaitan? That don't live in a world where you are governed by your animal desires and forgot your greatness as a human being. Yes? The Dajjal system, what does it say? You are free to do what you feel like. Yes? That whole Nietzschean concept of nihilism, and we'll reach a stage where we just do absolutely everything we like. I tell you, this is where it's heading with this Dajjal system. 40 years ago, what was a psychological disorder, today is cool. 40 years ago, what was a psychological disorder, today is cool. Would you believe, I read in one newspaper recently, it said, there are certain adults trying to use that argument for pedophilia. Yes? Then what are they saying? They're saying, well, you know what? If 40 years ago this was bad, now it's cool, why can't I work hard on saying that I'm naturally attracted to? And if you give me 40 years, give me the right money, the right CEO of big companies, then I'll make that cool. Then after that, what's the slippery slope? After pedophilia, incest. After incest, bestiality. Someone says, oh, that's disgusting. That will never happen. Hold on a minute. What you said was disgusting 40 years ago is cool now. What you said 40 years ago was disgusting is cool. The Dajjal system puts you into what? A false sense of what's freedom. Yes? It tells you, you know what? This is freedom for you. Don't let religion take over you. And you find, subhanallah, however much it works, mankind still can't get away from wanting spirituality. Yes? They said religion would die. Dajjal system would take over. Even the least religious still want a spiritual way of life. Madonna wanted Kabbalah. Tom Cruise, Scientology. Yes? Richard Gere, Buddhism. However much they told them, listen, no need for spirituality, even they went to find spiritual paths. Yes? But ultimately, the Dajjal system is one of the signs that don't think what's happening today in the world with everything becoming free is not a sign of the Imam. There are certain people who are not Muslims, but even they are saying, hold on, what's going on now? Things which we blatantly were saying were wrong a few years ago are now becoming normal. Where is that man who will bring the morals of God onto the earth before our children lose their head? And wallah, you look at some of the people which the Dajjal system's overtaken. I'll give you a few examples. You look at Amy Winehouse. You look at Miley Cyrus. You look at the Kardashians. You look at Lady Gaga. Yes? Look at all of these. When you look at all of their lives, Miley Cyrus, innocent actress when she was younger. Innocent. Today, Miley Cyrus cannot appear on television with any clothing on virtually. Miley Cyrus, most innocent Disney actress you'd find. Young girl, look what happened. Lindsay Lohan, innocent when she started, look what's happened. And who do they make sure are the role models? Yes? The ones who want complete freedom. Kim Kardashian, Lady Gaga. These are the role models, yes? Why are you concerned about God and religion? Be free. Kim Kardashian broke the internet because she posed nude. Broke the internet. Now if you say religion is not good, what is so moral about that? If you say Islam is barbaric, yes? And I agree with you. ISIS are barbaric. Boko are barbaric. Shabab are barbaric. Al-Qaeda is barbaric. I agree with you completely on all of that. But are you telling me you want your kids to grow up in a world where they are slaves of this industry? Is that what you want? Or do you want a savior who will allow your daughter to have dignity and respect? Not a Lady Gaga loses her head Miley Cyrus now completely in the nude. Is that what you wanted for your children? Because when I'm saying the Mahdi, I'm not saying the Mahdi is coming for Muslims. I'm saying the Mahdi is coming for every mother who's worried about her daughter and her future. That's Imam. Every mother who cares about her daughter's future. You don't think American parents and British parents now are worried with what their children watch on the television? Hypersexualized media? So when we say signs of the 12th Imam, some of the signs, you'll find that humanity all agree that yes, we don't want a world where freedom is sexual exploitation. To the extent there's a hadith of 6th Imam, you know what he says we'll reach a stage where someone will abduct the girl and the only thing people will say is you shouldn't have done it in daylight. Imagine. Today, sexual exploitation, sexual slavery. When the Mahdi reappears, the first thing he'll stand for is say, are these not daughters with souls? Yes. What have you done that Amy Winehouse dies at that young age? Geldof's daughter dies at that young age. What reasons? Overdose. Why? Don't you want a man and a way of life which gives freedom to your daughter, instead of seeing her die in her 20s because of a drugs overdose? Therefore, politically, the world comes together. They want corrupt politicians removed. Economically, the world will come to a point where we don't want corruption and greed and interest at the heart of the economic system. Socially, the world will want to remove itself from being animalistic and back to its human dignity. And I tell you something, with all of these signs, you find if the Muslims unite with each other, you don't need to worry about all of these signs. Yes? Sometimes our own enemy is ourselves, not anyone else. Even if there's a Dajjal, even if there's a Sufyani, even if there's a Khurasani, even if there's a Yamani, all of these. But the Muslims need to unite, otherwise the 12th Imam, none of this will mean anything to him. Yes? The Muslims have to come together, unite, because the biggest disease we can have in our communities is disunity, correct? When there's disunity between us, then there's no way the Imam will look at us and say what? And say, these are the people I want to lead. But when there is unity, then we're able to alleviate all of these problems, no doubt. Therefore, you find the Imams mention these signs, and of them, they mention there are certain signs. The scholars differ over them, but of them they say, for example, the Khurasani with the black flags, who will come. And the Yamani from the Sadat, yes, who will come. And they say, they talk about the Sufyani from the lineage of Abu Sufyan, who will come to try and destroy the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Yes? All of these things we mentioned, political corruption, economic greed, social nihilism, all of them are represented where? In the Sufyani. Yes? That if someone takes the Sufyani as a definite sign, and there is no bada applied on the Sufyani, if someone is to take that as an opinion, then you find no doubt that he will be of those who will seek to destroy the message of the Imam. And it's not surprising that a descendant of Abu Sufyan would have such a thought when his ancestors didn't mind killing the grandparents of the Imam. Yes? As in, it's not surprising when you see that at the end, someone from the line of Abu Sufyan wants to destroy a son of Al-Muhammad, and at the beginning, the children of Abu Sufyan massacred the children of Al-Muhammad. Yes? On the plains of Karbala, child running from tent to tent. Yes? One of them shouting and screaming, Wa Abbasa, and another saying, Wa Husayna, and another saying, Wa Akbara, and another saying, Wa Zainaba, and another saying, Wa Kulthuma. Indeed, you saw all of these babies would be moaning and they'd be groaning when you came to those final moments in Karbala. But there was one child, hadn't drunk any milk, you couldn't hear even a voice. Yes? The 6-month-old baby of Abu Abdullah. Yes? You look at the army of Abu Sufyan and you ask them, if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in a day of judgment, this 6-month-old baby, what has the baby done wrong to you? Yes? Because when Imam took the baby from Rabab, from Sayyidah Zainab, she said to him, the mother cannot feed the baby anymore. The Imam took the baby in his hands, he went out towards the battlefield, and he looked towards the people there. What did he say to them? He said to them, O army of Abu Sufyan, O army of Yazid, this baby has committed no crime. No one offered any water. The Imam placed the baby on the earth of Karbala. Yes, he said, I'll leave the baby here. This is for the mothers who are over here. Yes, I'll leave the baby here. No one offered any milk, no water. The Imam took him back one final time. Again he asked. The narration mentions Umar bin Sa'ad turned round to Harmala bin Kahil. Yes, no one describes this better than Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Yes, Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, when he caught Harmala bin Kahil, he asked him, Harmala, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? Harmala said, I shot 7 arrows to the army of Hussein. He said to him, 4 of them shot their target, 3 of them missed their target. So he said to them, of the 4 that reached their target, which ones hit their target? He said, the first one I shot on the right eye of Abu al-Fadl when he was on his horse. Allahu Akbar. He said, the second one I shot on the chest of Abdullah, the son of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. He said, but the third one hurts me until now. He said, I shot it into the neck of the 6-month-old. He said, I saw the baby flap its hands like a bird flaps its wings. Imagine. But the Sabirin, what do they say? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Imam al-Hussein returned back to the tent. Rabab was sitting there. He went back and forth and said Allahu Akbar 7 times. They said to him, Abu Abdullah, what's wrong with you? He said, I don't know how to tell a mother her baby's neck has been pierced. They buried the baby, yes, they buried the baby. But then on the night of the 11th of Muharram, Sayyidah Zainab was in her tent sleeping. While in the tent sleeping, she got up, she looked around, she saw Qasim's mom, she looked around, she saw Akbar's mom, but she couldn't find Asghar's mom. So she looked, she saw Rabab out on the battlefield. She said to her, Rabab, what are you doing? She said, I have some milk for my baby Asghar. Allahu Akbar. I want you to keep going with this, yes? When they went away, they left Karbala. When they came back to Karbala, when they returned on the 40th, Imam Zain al-Abidin brought the head of Imam al-Hussein. He placed it with the body of the Imam. He said, as soon as I put the head with the body, I heard a voice from the mouth of my father. Allahu Akbar. The baby placed the baby on my chest. MashaAllah. The baby placed him on my chest. Softly place his neck on my neck. Oh my son, the arrow of Harmala still hurts. That moment that he buried the baby, he placed Asghar on the chest of his father. Yes, I want to continue with this. When Rabab left Karbala, she was crying for her baby. In Kufa, she cried for her baby. In Sham, she cried for her baby. In Karbala, she cried for her baby. But when she returned to Medina, there was only one man she remembered. Yes, when she came home, she entered the house. As soon as she entered, she said to the builders, remove the roof from my house. They said to her, but Rabab, the sun will burn your body. She said, no, remove the roof from my house. When she sat in front of the sun, they said to her, are you sure? She said yes. They said to her, why? She said, how can I protect myself from the burning sun? And I saw Abu Abdullah burnt by it in Karbala. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, raise us with the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Ya Allah, allow us to be amongst his companions and those who spread the word of justice. Ilahi azam al-bala, no doubt. Ya Allah, it's a period of trials and tribulations. Ya Allah, remove the oppression that the followers of Ahlul Bayt face. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the following dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kun li waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.